bit of an indication of the animal that you might find been attacked by a fungus, Arctic mountain hare. Basically, there are very little primary old growth forests in Finland. It is slippery or you're not feeling confident. I want you to hold the rope with both hands.
Hi everyone and welcome back to yet another Lapland vlog. I want to present everything we did in this beautiful place, but this video will be quite different from the other ones because I filmed the entire hike with my GoPro. I mean, Mike filmed it, but anyways, as you can read right now on the screen, we chose Nordic Odyssey for this tour. We paid 125 euros, but that was 2 years ago, so they got more expensive in the meantime. I think most tours did, and right now it's 140 euros I saw on their website, but anyways, that included lunch and the road trip, which was quite long, and also a guide which was super knowledgeable. So I fully recommend you to do this tour, but let's see more in depth what this was about. And you can already see the beautiful views we are seeing from the forest. You will also soon see a short video of me literally suffering so much because I was super sick when doing this hike and it was pretty long. So in case you are not feeling super well, I recommend you to get some chocolate for energy, because once I got it I felt way better. But let's see that short video right now. It is really hard because I'm pretty sick, but it is beautiful. Anyways, you can see that the waterfalls are fully frozen and they were so beautiful. This is basically the main attraction of this hike, so you can expect, especially in December, to see these icy waterfalls that I personally have never seen in my life this way. They were super huge, and they also do ice climbing on them, which you will also hear our tour talk about later, because I put some of the original audio when our guide was talking. But anyways, you can see that when we were halfway through our hike, we stopped and our guide made a fire without using any of the modern technologies, just to show us how you can light a fire if you are in the forest naturally, let's say. So that was pretty cool. Anyways, right now you can see that my video with our GoPro started, and from here you will see just our view of the entire tour.
Korouoma comes from koro and ma. Ma in Finnish means land, country, territory, and koro is the name of the river that runs in the bottom of the canyon. So it's the land of the river Koro, basically. And Salkovara here is the name of the hill. Vara is a hill that's covered with trees, as opposed to like a tunturi in Finnish, which is a hill but that has no trees on the top. And Salko means otter. So it's a bit of an indication of the animal that you might find down in the river. It's unlikely to see it, but maybe we can see some tracks. I'll let you know if I see any when we're down there.
So now we could hear our guide talking about the significance of the name of this place and some more details. And throughout this video I will keep on putting the original sound on so you can hear also what we heard from our guide. It's a lot of super interesting information about the forests in Finland, the animals, and at some point we also saw a po, I don't know what it's called, like a sign that an animal has been there, and we had to guess which animal it was, and you will see about that later. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video so far, please don't forget to like it and also to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. But anyways, you can see that the forest was so beautiful. From time to time I will also speed up the video so that you don't get bored. But anyways, very soon you will hear again our guide talking about something really interesting about the trees. So let's see.
Along the way we're going to see a lot of these dead trees, the ones that are still standing, and actually here you have kind of all three stages going on. So in Finnish they're called a Kelo, and they're a pine tree that has been attacked by a fungus, usually from the top of the tree, and gradually it loses its bark, like on the example we have on the left. It dies completely, but it can stay standing for many years until basically the bottom of the tree gets eaten up again by fungi, insects, different viruses, and it will eventually fall. And so you'll see a lot of those here in Finland, and you can see around you that basically the forest is dominated by this pines. It's called a Scots pine in English, and it means that the forest actually is quite aired, it's quite open, as opposed to when you have a lot of the Norway spruce, like your Christmas trees. There are a few here and there. When you have a lot of the spruce trees, the forest is more dense and much darker.
Anyways, about this entire tour, I think we spent around 1.5 hours in the car just to reach the parking, and then we started walking down and descending down to the waterfalls. And I already told you that I was feeling super sick, because if you saw my previous video, you already knew that I started to feel very bad during the last tour where we did ice fishing, because we spent a lot of time outside. So be aware of that, get some medicine from home just in case this happens, because you really can't underestimate the weather here in Lapland. It is way colder than you think, and it feels way colder than it looks when you see the weather app. So do not underestimate it. Get super warm clothing, buy some wool clothes, because you will thank yourself later. Trust me, literally my eyelashes were frozen because of how cold it was.
Step to the sides so that we don't walk in them. Any guesses what that might be? Dizzy did qui ça peut être?
Le Père Noël. Non, pas
No.
Non, les reines.
No.
les 8 ans.
Smaller than the reindeer.
Smaller.
It's the Arctic mountain hare. So you have the two back paws, which are bigger, and the two front paws in the back. And why is the trace like that? It's moving in this direction. It has quite a distinct Y shape.
So I was telling you about the chocolate and how it made me feel better, and that was because I was really running out of energy, because my body, even though I was having really good clothes, it was running out of energy, and it was super hard. I mean, the hike is not really that hard, but because it is cold and you have to be super careful because it is slippery, then you use a lot more energy. So if you're having something sweet with sugar, that could really help you, because our guide had some chocolate and I think I ate half of everything she had, because the others did not really want or need that much. But I was feeling unable to carry on with this hike because of how bad it was, and because she gave me so much sugar, I was able to climb the hill as fast and as easy as the others, even though I was feeling super sick. So be aware of that, and also get some water, but not too much, because you will probably not need a lot. It is super cold, so that is pretty obvious. But anyways, do not underestimate also this hike. So if you are not used to hiking and you usually don't do a lot of physical activity, make sure that it is pretty difficult, especially during these conditions. So make sure you prepare in advance and you hydrate well in the days up to this tour. And also, if you are having physical difficulties, like for example because of the age or other physical difficulties, you can choose to skip this tour, but that depends. It is up to you, and you know your body the best. So I just recommend you not to underestimate this.
So a little bit about the human history here. So basically there are very little primary old growth forests in Finland. Basically all of them have been used at one point or another for forestry and logging, and here is the same. Even if today it's protected, at the beginning of the 18th century it was used for the logging industry, so they would take down the trees.
So as I've already told you, this vlog is very different from the other ones, because at this point I will just stop talking. I will still let you hear what our guide was saying, but for the rest of the videos I will just put on some music and I will let you enjoy this forest and this tour as if you were there. So I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to like and subscribe this video.
So we have our fancy crampons, so it should be easier. I'm going to start going forwards, but holding on to the rope. If at any moment it is slippery or you're not feeling confident, I want you to hold the rope with both hands, one here, one underneath, and I want you to go backwards. So you turn around and you go backwards like this to go down, okay? No, leave a meter, a bit of space between you, just in case someone slides. We'll avoid everyone toppling over, okay? the waterfalls would all be frozen. And I said yes. But what I didn't say is that actually in summertime there is no waterfall. There's no water running here. It's completely dry. So the water that freezes on the rock face that makes these frozen waterfalls is actually the water coming from the bogs that are on top of the canyon, and there are also hanging bogs on the cliff face. So bogs are very humid, accumulated water, and in autumn time they're very, very full of water, and that's what's going to be running on the cliff face. And in winter, as the temperatures drop, it accumulates as ice on the face of the cliff. And that's also why you have these different colors, the brown, orange, maybe you can see a bit of green. That's coming from the vegetation of the bog and the humus, basically. So the soil is quite orange here because there's some iron in it. And it's also not uncommon that the lakes, rivers are also that kind of iron orangey color. Hence, you can see the orange maybe even more on that one. And actually the biggest waterfall you'll see is basically brown. thing you may have noticed a lot here is the forest floor. Later it'll be completely covered in snow, but basically the forest in Finland is covered in berry bushes. The main three we have here, so the green stem without any or losing its leaves is the blueberry or bilberry here. The one still that has its leaves with the brown stem is the lingonberry, the red one that you can also find basically in the shops with the blueberry as jam. It's used mainly with meat dishes. And this one here, the teeny tiny leaves, is the crowberry. It's a little blackberry that you don't find in shops but that find a lot in the forest, which is a great snack in summer, autumn time. So it's really like just berries with mosses and lichens. Basically no grass apart from... Yes, good point. I'm going to continue so that we can make the most of the waterfalls without the other groups. But I'll say more about what we can pick maybe at lunchtime. Okay, remind me if I forget. Smaller falls that we could see on the left of the bigger one earlier, which I actually think are not more impressive but actually very pretty because you can really see the icicles falling from the rocks.
When do the waterfalls start appearing?
Basically it depends on the temperatures, but we already had really cold temperatures in November, so we were already doing tours here beginning of November, and there was already some of them, basically the bigger ones now have more ice and snow on top, so they look a bit different to what they looked like in November, but they were already there. Basically gradually during the season they kind of get thicker, and that's why I think this one is actually pretty cool because you can still really see the icicles coming down from the rock, whereas the other ones maybe look a bit more like the one on the left, where it's like more dense and you kind of see less of the shape of the icicles themselves. You'll see the bigger ones, you'll see what I mean. And they do ice climbing on them, so obviously there's thick ice.